thank you for accepting our invitation to join. We think you will find some valuable information that will be shared today. You'll get to meet some of our department leaders and understand what we do as a department. I'm Carolyn Wright, Interim Director for the Solid Waste Management Department. And before we get started, I want to kind of give you a few housekeeping rules, if you don't mind. First of all, I want to make each of you aware that this meeting is going to be recorded. So that you know that on the upfront, that this is going to be recorded and it can be shared later. We ask that you please mute your devices if you're not speaking. And what we want you to do is during this series, please submit your questions in the chat. We have someone managing that and monitoring it, and we'll be able to answer your questions as we move throughout this process. When we recognize you, we ask that you would to speak. You can unmute your devices and consider turning on your camera at that moment so we can recognize you. Please let us know your name, spell your last name, and let us know what neighborhood or district that you are answering the question from and you're representing, because we want to recognize you and make sure that you have your questions answered by the appropriate manager for that particular quadrant. And to mute or unmute if you're calling in, then we ask you to press *6 on your phones. So what we want to do is ask everyone outside of solid waste, if you would turn off your cameras for us, because we want you to see all of the solid waste employees first, and then we'll be able to ask you to turn your cameras on at the appropriate time. So again, we want to thank you for joining in. We think that this, again, will be a very enlightening meeting on this morning. So we're going to go on and get started. Kind of give you an idea, again, as I stated, I'm Carolyn Wright, Interim Director for the Solid Waste Department. Honored to be here on today with many of our leaders in the department. We just kind of want to give you an idea of what solid waste does. So our mission as a department is to provide citizens of Houston with cost-effective, environmentally sound, and safe solid waste management services within the city of Houston. Inherent within this mission are several major tasks that we perform, which is residential garbage collection, tree waste and junk waste collection, dead animal pickup, opportunities for all citizens and businesses to reduce waste by participating in our recycling and performing the disposal and other we call resource recovery functions associated with all of these operations. At this time, I want to ask our members of our team to introduce themselves and let you know what service area they provide service to. So I'm going to start with Mr. Mebin, Derek Mebin.
Good morning. Thank everybody for showing up. My name is Derek Mebin. I'm the Deputy Assistant Director for the Southeast Quadrant. We service garbage, recycling, junk waste, tree waste, and yard waste for the Southeast Quadrant. We also handle recycling for selected areas in the Southwest Quadrant. We collect the major parts of Council District D, E, H, I, some of K, and some of J. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mebin. And now we'll move over to Mr. Maurice Renfro.
Thank you, Director. Good morning, all. My name is Maurice Renfro, Senior Superintendent for the Southwest Quadrant. We service garbage, residential recycling, junk waste, and tree waste, as well as yard waste for the Southwest Quadrant. We are a collector for a major part of Council District C, F, J, K, and also recycling in parts of D and E as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Renfro. Now I'll move over to Mr. DeMarcus Glass.
Good morning. Thank you, Director Wright. Good morning. I'm DeMarcus Glass. I'm the Deputy Assistant Director for the Northwest Service Center, and we provide collection service for the Northwest Quadrant in regards to garbage, recycling, and yard waste. These services are provided in major parts of Council District A, B, C, G, and H. Thank you, Ms. Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Glass. Mr. Fair, calling Mr. Fair now, Mr. Michael Fair.
Good morning, Ms. Wright. I am Michael Fair. I'm the Senior Superintendent for the Northeast Quadrant. We service garbage, junk waste, and tree waste, recycle, and yard waste for the Northeast Service Center. And we collect a major part of the councilman district was A, B, C, E, G, H, and I. Thank you.
And just one thing, Mr. Fair forgot to add,
Yes.
that the Northeast Center services the entire Northern Quadrant for
Yes.
our junk waste and tree waste collection. So that
Yes.
center services that entire quadrant for that. Then I'm going to move over to our neighborhood depositories, which would be Ms. Sarah Mason. Ms. Mason.
Good morning. Thank you, Director Wright. Happy to be here. Yes, Sarah Mason. I'm the division manager over our neighborhood depositories and recycle centers. That includes our reuse warehouse. And I also work with our community outreach and public information teams on our recycling education programs for our single stream curbside program.
Thank you, Sarah. We'll turn it over to Ms. Wealthia White.
Thank you, Director. Good morning. My name is Wealthia White. I'm the division manager for the West Park Consumer Recycling Center and the Environmental Service Centers, North and South. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. White. And then Ms. Coffey, our community outreach manager, Elise Coffey.
Thank you, Director. I am Elise Coffey, and I manage the community outreach section of the Solid Waste Department. My team provides recycling education and service information to community groups, civic clubs, and also in elementary schools and summer parks to children about recycling. We service the entire city, so that's all council districts.
Councilmember
Thank you.
Abel's office.
Thank you, Elise. And so, Sarah, if I could go back, if you don't mind introducing Mr. Bennett.
Yes, I'm sorry. Good morning again. I'm happy to introduce Mr. James Bennett. He's our newest member of our recycling division for the depositories, but not new to the department.
Thank you. Yes, as stated, I'm the senior superintendent, and my area of responsibilities are the depository and dead animal collections.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Thank you, Sarah. And last, but certainly not least, the most senior member of our team, Mr. Anthony Bowie.
Okay, thank you, Director. Again, my name is Anthony Bowie. I'm the Deputy Director over South Operations, and my responsibility is to oversee the collection, transportation, and disposal of municipal solid waste in the southwest and southeast quadrant of the city of Houston. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowie. Once again, we want to just remind you, if you're not speaking, to please mute your devices so that we won't have a lot of background. And so now we're going to go on and kick off this Lunch and Learn series. I'm going to start with our Mr. Derek Mebin is going to give you an overview of particular services that we provide, and I'll start with Mr. Mebin.
Good morning again. Thank you, Director Wright. So we'll start off with residential garbage. Residential garbage is collected once a week to about 390,000 residents. An additional 51,000 residents receive garbage collection through a sponsorship program. For those 390 residents that we service, we issue a black garbage can, black 96-gallon garbage can for regular household trash. We do the same thing for recycling. So for recycling for those residents, we issue a green 96-gallon automated cart for their recyclables. Single stream recycling allows customers to mix their recycled paper, corrugated cardboard, plastic, and aluminum cans in one container. The set-outs or the guidelines that we use for set-out for those containers are about the same. So we'll run through those rules right quick. We'd like the carts to be placed out by 7 a.m. each morning on your collection day. The wheels should be against the curb, and that means that the lid should be facing the street. The lid must close properly. What happens if the lid is not closed properly, if you've got bags kind of hanging out or material hanging out, when the truck lifts the garbage can, it can spill stuff out as we go. So of course we don't want that spilled debris on the street. So please make sure that the lids are closed properly. There must be 6 feet of clearance all the way around the container. Please don't place the container under low branches or low wires, because that hinders us from going up and down when we're lifting the can to service it. And we don't want the container placed near gas meters, cars, shrubbery, things of that nature. What happens is that gripper has to widen to come out and grab that can and grip that can all the way around. That being said, when it does that, we don't want, of course, to hit anything on the side, either side of that container. That goes back to why we wanted 6 feet of clearance around that whole container. The last thing we'll talk about here is don't report a missed collection until after 7 p.m. 9 times out of 10, we're still working in one operation or the other. So this will give us an opportunity to come down if you say, okay, well, my street was missed or the driver left it doesn't look like he's coming back. 9 times out of 10, he might be coming back, or he should be coming back. He might have went to the dump and is on the way back. Thanks so much, Ms. Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Mebane. Are there any questions as it relates to the 2 operational programs Mr. Mebane mentioned, which would be your trash and, of course, your recycling collection programs? If you don't have any at this moment, please remember, put those questions in the chat. We have someone monitoring it. And then, of course, if you have questions and you're on your phone, please unmute and we will recognize you. So if there are no questions, then we're going to move it forward to the next operational program, which will be our heavy trash as we know it to be. Part of this is to educate you on that we don't use those words anymore in the department, and we want to make sure the public's not using that word as well. So as part of our junk waste and tree waste collection program, I now will introduce you again to Mr. DeMarcus Glass.
Good morning once again, and I'm going to speak about our tree and junk waste collection, starting with our junk waste. Junk waste, residents may dispose of their junk waste at the curbside. Junk waste is collected during the even number month. Junk waste is described as furniture, appliances, and up to 4 tires and other bucket materials that you can put out on those even months. Collectively, no more than 8 cubic yards will be collected, and a maximum of that 8 cubic yards can be only 4 cubic yards of building material generated by the residents in connection with the maintenance of the residential property. With that being said, that the work has to actually come from your home. In connection with the maintenance of that, it excludes roof and shingles, brick, plaster, and concrete. Any waste from contractors or residential property needs to be collected by that will not be collected. It has to be disposed of by that contractor. If authorized items are mixed or unauthorized items are mixed with authorized items, then it will not be sorted or collected. Now I'll move on to the tree junk collection, which is also collected in the odd number month, and the same process is collected at the curb. Tree waste is considered clean wood waste, which consists of tree limbs, branches, stumps. No lumber, furniture, or treated wood will be accepted. No more than 8 cubic yards, and the same as our junk waste program. It cannot be generated by a contractor. It has to come from the residents. In the same fashion, if authorized items are mixed with unauthorized items, then those piles will not be collected. Thank you, Director Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Glass. Well, we actually have a question, and this is going to be for the Southeast Quadrant. So this is going to be for you, Derek. What are the boundaries for the Southeast Quadrant? Can you share that information with Mr. Martin Chavez? Thank you for that question, sir.
I can. It's not as simple as it may sound. We're not bounded by necessarily streets. There are some issues there. But anyway, I'm going to try as best as I can. So Buffalo Bayou from 59 going back out east to the city boundary. And then if you sweep that around all the way to 288. And so from Buffalo Bayou all the way around to 288, that encompasses 225 and 45 south as well. And then going out south and to the east, we're just going to go all the way out to that city boundary. Hope that answers your question. If you've got a specific area in mind, let us know. We can get more specific.
Question from Veronica Hernandez. Is there a map available that shows the boundaries, Mr. Mebane?
There is, and we can get something to Mr. Chavez that shows him exactly what those boundaries are. He just responded, said that's clear.
So that was Veronica Hernandez from the council office, and we'll get that information to you, Ms. Hernandez, as well. Okay, so glad, Mr. Chavez, thank you. Glad to know that the question is clear, and then we'll get that map over to you, Veronica. So now, if there are no additional questions at this time, we're going to keep it moving, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Maurice Renfro, who's going to tell you about our yard waste programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Our yard waste consists of grass clippings, leaves, and small branches that must be placed in city-approved compostable bags so we can collect them. You can buy those. You can purchase those bags at your local grocery or hardware stores. Make sure that they have the logo on the box when you purchase them. Please make sure they don't mix any trash, paper, or plastic, or any other types of waste with the yard waste, because it won't be collected. Work performed by a contractor, such as yard waste companies, must be removed by the contractor. So whenever you have anybody that's contracting for you, they must remove the yard waste with them. Your yard waste will be collected once a week. Will be collected weekly on the same day as your garbage. Place your bags at least 3 feet from your garbage container, because if you get it too close to the garbage container, once that garbage truck come by to pick up that can, it might get snagged and tear that bag, and yard waste will be all over the street. So we don't want to do that. Field bags must be at least 50 pounds, less than 50 pounds, because you want to make sure we don't put too much in there. So when the guys come by to pick up those yard waste bags, it won't tear and be still also be all over the street. We want to make sure they be able to get it inside the truck. Small branches must be at least 4 feet in length and smaller than 18 inches in diameter, and place next to the bags for collection. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Renfro. So this question is going to be, it's sort of a mixed question from Mr. Valinsky in Department of Neighborhoods. So it's a twofold question, in my opinion, because you started out talking about the tree waste and yard waste and the tree waste. So we want to be able to make sure we kind of know the difference between the two. So with that being said, his question is, I have a problem on 100 to 400 Sylvester Street, zip code 77009, that started with yard waste and was missed for more than one cycle. Now the tree waste is mixed with junk waste because of mixed cycles. So you're talking about 3 different things, Mr. Valinsky, and we're going to try to make sure you understand the difference between the two. I'm going to start with Mr. Glass. So he'll let you know, how do you identify yard waste? We get a lot of emails and inquiries about yard waste, tree waste, that people identify the yard waste as tree waste. So as Mr. Glass will go back one more, and he's going to explain to you the definition of what tree waste is. And then Mr. Renfro, again, will tell you what yard waste is, so you'll know the difference between the two. There are 2 different type of collections for those particular items. So I'm going to start with Mr. Glass, and because he services that area on Sylvester Street. Is that your area, Mr. Glass?
It's actually Kelly's, because Kelly's
Kelly, okay.
responsible for all the heavy trash, but I can probably clarify for him. Okay, some people tend to get the yard waste and their tree waste mixed up, because they actually put out tree waste that's not actually bundled up and get it mixed up with being tree waste and not yard waste. If the tree waste is actually cut up, like Mr. Renfro described, in no longer than 4 feet and 18 inches diameter and tied up, then it would be considered yard waste. If you put the pile out and just cut up your tree and leave it out as one big pile, then it's actually considered tree waste. And when they call in, they need to make that clear. And I think that's where some of the confusion comes from. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, Mr. Valinsky, are you clear? We just want to make sure that you understand the difference between your tree waste and your yard waste. So
Actually, I mistyped that. It should have been junk waste. It started out as tree waste, cycles were missed, and then there was junk waste on top of the tree waste. So they're sort of stuck now that it won't be picked up.
Okay, let me have Mr. Fair. Mr. Fair, with respect to that junk waste for the north, that would be your area. Please let Mr. Valinsky know what will happen when, unfortunately, we miss your cycle and then that debris is mixed together.
Yes, since your tree waste was put out their own tree waste money and it wasn't collected, and you saying that junk waste is just getting piled on now. So what we'll do is, when the junk waste money come, we're going to take care of the junk and the tree waste, since both of them is mixed. So we'll take care of that pile, so it won't be no problem. And you understand that?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got a couple more questions in the chat, and I see your request from Sherelle. We'll get that information, the boundary map for that would be district. Sherelle, what's your council district? Are you with Councilmember Thomas's area?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we'll get that information over to you. All of your questions in the chat, we will address those requests. And then Stephen James in District D on the junk waste and tree waste. It went by quickly with information be given to you. Absolutely, sir. In the chat, you will notice that there's information on our trash facts. Please, the trash facts and garbage and recycling facts are located at houston.tx.gov. solid waste, and then trash facts. You can find all that information on our website, HoustonTX.gov/solid waste, and you can get all information about this and our services on the trash facts. So that information is out there as well. And then let me go to the other chat. Can District B receive a map of our district's map? Absolutely. We'll get that over to you, Mr. Thomas. We'll get that information to you. And then, so that has been taken care of. Derek, quick, fast, and in a hurry. He has gotten that over to you. Mr. Stephen James, you should have a copy of the map for District D. Are the boundary maps on the website? That's the question that's being asked. And they are on the website? Yes, they are. But if you want them readily available where you don't have to go and search them, we'll be happy to provide those to you as well. Okay, so if there are no more questions at this moment, then we're going to move over to our, and thank you again for your questions. Just reminding you, let's see, Stephen James, your hand is up. I want to recognize you, sir.
Good morning, everybody.
morning.
Thank you for having this gathering. I do have a couple of questions. You've already asked the one that I was questioning earlier. And I don't know, Director Wright, at some point, will there be a discussion about a trash collection fee? That's something that has been an issue that I've been discussing with our Civic Club presidents. And at some point, maybe that discussion can be had so we can share what the ideas are.
It has been had, but it won't be a part of today's discussion. You need to contact your council member who you work for. I think that's completely out of solid waste's hand on that fee. While we support it 100%, I think everybody on this forum realizes that solid waste is under budget and underfunded. And absolutely, we want to be made whole. And the only way we can do that is there's some kind of way that there's some monetary assignment of some additional funds to solid waste. But today's session doesn't have anything to do with the fee. And so that's not part of today's discussion. But I would implore you to go back and talk to your council member. And so that council member can talk to the others and bring it to the forefront so we can get that moving forward. We would love to see solid waste balanced and made whole, but not today, unfortunately. But thank you for the question. Okay, now we're going to move over to our reuse warehouse, part of our recycling programs, and that would be Sarah Mason.
Thank you, Director. Good morning again, all. Yes, within our recycling division, we have a reuse warehouse that's located at 9003 North Main Street. That's in District H. It's a unique operation where we accept gently used building materials from anyone and we make them available to nonprofits at no cost. This is a great resource for a variety of nonprofit groups. We've had over 800 visit us in the decade or so we've had that program going. And that includes everybody from groups who do home repair to community gardens to artists to school groups. So we've had a large variety of folks. The facility is open Tuesday through Friday and the second and fourth Saturdays of each month from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And also in our group, I'd like to talk to you about our neighborhood depository sites. You may be familiar with those. We have 6 of them across the city. And those are facilities that offer a convenient and no-cost option for residents to dispose of their junk waste, tree waste, household recycling in between their collection days, or for residents who maybe do not have curbside service because they live in an apartment, they can bring their materials there to drop them off. Proof of residency is required for dropping off junk waste, but not to drop off recycling. And at this time, I'm pleased to reintroduce you again to Mr. James Bennett. He's a very experienced member, excuse me, our department, but recently joined the recycling division. Mr. Bennett will give you some more details on the depositories as well as our dead animal collections.
Yes, thank you. So I want to share the 6 neighborhood depositories located throughout the city. The North Main locations is in District H. The Kirkpatrick is located in District B. The Sunbeam is in District D. The Central one is located in District I. Summermire in District A. And the Southwest depositories is located in District J. So all our locations are open Tuesday through Sunday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. We do accept junk waste, which could consist of mattresses, concrete, tires, scrap metal, which all are recyclable. Other recyclables that we also accept are bottles, cans, paper, and cardboard. The residents do need to bring a photo ID and a utility bill to show proof of residency. There are also 2 recycle-only centers, one in Clear Lake at the Ellington Field that is open 7 days a week, and the one in Kingwood, they're at the Metro Park and Ride that is open from Friday afternoon to Sunday evening. And also, I want to share with you about the dead animals collections. So to get the process started, dead animals can be reported through 311, the city's customer service hotline. The animals are to be placed on the curb or a City of Houston maintained street. We are collecting those between Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The City of Houston will not collect dead animals from businesses, treating, handling, or disposal of any animals. Small dead animals such as dogs, cats, and others of that size will be collected at no charge. Large dead animals, for example, horses and cattle, is a fee. That fee is $107.01. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Thank you, Sarah. Again, please note the fee. Small animals, no fee. Large one, and we do collect horse and cattle. There's a fee. 100 and what was it, Mr. Bennett?
$107.01.
And $7.01.
Yes.
So we want to remind you of that cost of $107.01. So again, if there is a need for you to have those dead animals picked up, please call 311 and report that. And then, of course, as Mr. Bennett said, we collect those Mondays through Fridays between 8 and 5 unless there's an emergency. So I'd like to just acknowledge, Mr. Provost, we received your information about the request for the District B map. Veronica, thank you for the information. Veronica Hernandez, we will go back and review our trash facts. It states that some information in Spanish might be outdated, and we get that updated and then repost it to our website. Again, all of the information is on our website, houstontx.gov/solid waste. Also, please note that this meeting is being recorded. Just want to let you all know who are just logging on. And then another question from Mr. Chavez. Thank you, Mr. Chavez. He reported dead animals in our community located in trash bin or one time in a cooler and they didn't get picked up. Okay, so okay. We'll make note of that. So if anyone want to address that question between Mr. Bennett and Mr. Renfro, Mr. Bennett is new to that area. Again, he's not new to the city, but he's still learning the process. So what happens when someone reports a dead animal in the trash can or in a cooler and it didn't get picked up? Please share that information.
Well, if they let us know that it's in that particular bin, cooler or trash can, we will also we will pick it up. And we'll dispose of the cooler as well, and then dispose of the dead animal, as usual.
Thank you, Mr. Renfro. Oh, I'm sorry. Someone had a question?
I'm sorry. This is Martin Chavez. If you allow me to clarify just what we do a lot of neighborhood cleanups, and a lot of times we find dead animals or dogs or cats in trash bags, and we report those to 311. But what I found out that a lot of times either your crews are not finding them because maybe they're in trash bags and they're not stopping to check, but I have to usually report those 3 or 4 times before it eventually gets picked up. I mean, what am I missing here? Why? And I in my description, I say it's in a trash bag or someone left it in the cooler, but I usually have to call 2 or 3 times before someone finds it and picks it up. So is that usual?
Let me say this, Mr. Chavez, before Mr. Renfro comes back. Mr. Isaiah Monroe is here from 311, and we're excited that he's here today. So he can clarify when you report that, what is needed, because again, our crews are going to go out based on the information that we receive, and the information is received from 311. So exactly. Mr. Monroe is here. Mr. Monroe, thank you for joining. Please give some clarification on what is being missed when Mr. Chavez reports specifically where those dead animals are located. What should be doing differently?
What needs to occur is, Mr. Chavez, if you are making the report yourself via the web or the app, in the additional information phase, part of the script, you need to add the information that the remains are either in a plastic bag or cooler or whatever they are in. With the new system that we have, you can actually move the pin on the map to exactly where the bags are located within that address. You can do that. But the main thing is, if the remains are in a plastic bag, that needs to be notated in the additional information portion of the question section. And that should take care of the crews being able to actually locate the remains.
And like Mr. Bennett said, it has to be on the curb because we do not go on private property. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all do a lot of cleanup, so you might, I don't know where y'all leaving it at, but it has to be on the curb in order for us to pick it up.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett, Ms. Renfro, and again, Mr. Monroe, for that information from Mr. Chavez, and then for others who are on this particular series. Okay, so there's a couple of questions in the chat. Number one is, should we change? Oh, Mr. Monroe, yes, sir, please do that. Change from Mr. Renfro to Mr. Bennett, please, and we'll make sure you have that information. And then Celia, what council district are you representing? Can we get that information? I don't know all of the council reps, but we'll come back. And then Renee.
I'm sorry, that was Councilmember Gallego's office, District
Okay.
I.
All right, District I. So Mr. Mebane will answer that question. It wants to know, what's the timeline for trash bin replacement when damaged by a solid waste truck driver?
Hi, it's Derek again. Yes, it should be 7 days, but we have experienced some delays with those deliveries. If you put that in the text or either email me the address, I'll check on it and see if we have the documentation for it and see where that is on the list to get taken care of.
Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Okay, so I have two questions for the as it relates to dead animal. The one question is, what about dead animals in a park or trail? And then it's also, is there a preferred container type for dead animals?
No, it's no container type. Like I say, if they put it in a bag or anything, as long as we know what they placed it in, then we'll be able to pick it up. But as far as a park, we will go in the park because we know it's a city park. We know his kids going to be in that park, so we always try to make an extra effort to go out in the parks and pick up whatever's dead in that area.
Okay, thank you. And I have another question about dead animal, which is relative to a horse. And they had a dead horse placed on the median from a ranch, and was reported by the HOT team. It was picked up, but then they want to know, how do they charge the ranch for the horse being out there?
And that's a tough one because we don't know who put it out there. Like I say, we can't charge someone if we don't know who put it out there. So if we have a name or if someone called it in and we do have their contact information, that's the way we end up charging them.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Renfro. And then Trevor, Mr. Thomas, the question for your neighbor. So there's a question in the chat about the neighbor in District B received a green notification for failure to store trash bin out of public view. What's the regulation for trash bin being outside and visible? Why it is in Chapter 39, solid waste does not regulate that particular ordinance. If someone from Department of Neighborhoods is on here, they might be able to answer that question for you, Mr. Thomas. If not, then we'll get that information to you. Is someone on Department of Neighborhoods able to answer that question? If not, we'll get that information to you. Okay.
Ms. Wright, that's normally a HOA issue.
Well, we're not in the HOA community.
Yeah, not in District B,
So
not HOA.
Okay. Okay.
correct.
The cans have to be removed from the public street by dusk, and it has to not be visible by dusk once the can has been emptied. The only way a can be curbside past dusk of the day of pickup is if that particular can was missed by the department. So once dusk arrives on the day of pickup, if the can is still out there, then they're susceptible to be reported for a violation. And then of course, it's going to take a little time for the Department of Neighborhoods to get out there and actually witness the violation. The violation must be witnessed, and the department will send out a notification to the resident that the can has to be removed from view from the street. So, and that's pretty much how it goes. I'm not.
So here's the question then I would have as a follow-up. Some of the housing here does not have a setup for that, right? So if that's the case, what should the resident do? Like in her case, I think she has two vehicles, and I don't think both cars in there, I don't think the trash bins fit as well. And she says she's been having this trash bin for over 4 years, and she's never received a citation until now.
It's a pretty big city, and it may take Department of Neighborhoods a while to get to them. But the fact of the matter is, the can cannot be visible from the street. So if she cannot get the can in the rear portion of the yard, then some sort of fencing material is gonna have to be erected so that the can is not visible from the street. And again, I'm with 311. I just kind of know these things. Department of Neighborhoods can definitely back me up on this. But that's the way that happens. If she cannot get the can out of the public view, then she's gonna need to erect some sort of fencing that will take the can out of the public view.
Thank you.
And so with that being said, I would suggest reaching out to Department of Neighborhoods. Solid Waste does not manage and regulate that area. We don't issue any citations. We are in communication with Department of Neighborhoods and 311 when we have delayed services. So with respect to Ms. Erica Hubbard's question, hello Erica, our trash is often picked up by the next day. And if that happens, Erica, we are communicating with Department of Neighborhoods 311. They know when we have delayed services. So if a citizen receives a citation, because we've made them aware of those services, then you can always make us aware and we can coordinate with them. But many times when we are delayed in our services, we send a notification out so that no citation or warnings are given to the residents of Houston, because again, we have delayed services on a regular basis, completely out of our control, but we try to communicate that so that no one will receive a citation. And so someone is sharing that there's some issues with the 311 system. You're going to have to get with the department, the ARA department. Solid Waste does not have control over the new application that just rolled out. We will be sharing some exciting news at the end of this particular session about our new app that we're rolling out as well. But again, relative to their app, we have no control over it. Please email ARA or call 311-713-837-0311 and have a conversation and let them know that you're having some issues with the new app. There is a question from Christian Crawley. How can I file a garbage bin replacement in the 311 system that was damaged by the city? Absolutely. Just file it with 311 and then Solid Waste will receive that particular service request and we'll get your garbage bin replaced. Okay, so now we're going to move on. I'm excited to share. You'll hear from Ms. Wealthia White. She's the newest member of the operations team. However, she's not new to the department or the city. So Ms. White, welcome.
Thank you, Director Wright. Hello again, everyone. I'm pleased to tell you about other drop-off facilities available to all council districts and the City of Houston residents. First, we'll start with the environmental service centers. These centers are drive-through locations for Houston residents to bring their household hazardous waste, such as antifreeze, batteries, fuel, oil, paint, pesticides, paint thinners, herbicides, and household cleaners. Residential electronic scrap items will also be accepted. These things are monitors, televisions, printers, keyboards, mice, scanners, fax machines, telephone handsets, VCRs, CPUs, cellular phones, and other small consumer electronics. There are 2 locations on the north side, located at 5614 Natchez, Building C, This facility is open on the second Thursday of the month from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. On the south side of the city, at 11500 South Post Oak, this facility is open every Tuesday and Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and on the second Saturday of the month from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We also have the West Park facility. The West Park Consumer Recycling Center is the city's premier drive-through recycling location. Residents can bring household recyclables, including cardboard, mixed paper, plastic bottles, jugs, tubs, glass bottles, jars, and aluminum and steel cans. Items should be empty, clean, and dry. Residents are encouraged to pre-sort their items before arriving and bring them in a one-way container like a cardboard box. This center is open Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The West Park Recycling Center is located at 5900 West Park. For an exhaustive list of items accepted at these drop-off drive-through facilities, please see the department's website. The website address is listed in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. White. Great information. Again, you can find this information on our website, houstontx.gov/solid waste. And also the information you requested, Ms. Hubbard, it is in the chat now, both of those locations of those environmental service centers, the one on the south and the one on the north side. Again, are there any questions with respect to what we just shared with you on our community outreach and, on our West Park and ESC areas that we service? If not, then we're going to move to what I call her as the queen of solid waste, the queen of trash, Miss Elise Coffey. Many of you know Miss Coffey, and I'm going to let her come in her own special way. Miss Coffey.
Hello, everyone. I am Elise Coffey, and I manage the community outreach section of the Solid Waste Department. I consider my staff and I to be the public face of the department. We provide customer service to residents, students, and others seeking to resolve a complaint or access information about the department. We attend all types of community meetings, health fairs, and civic club meetings to inform residents about department services, placement guidelines, recycling education, and resources. We provide recycling education to elementary school age children in schools and at summer parks programs, sometimes with the help of our 3 mascots. We help organize and execute neighborhood cleanups and tire roundups. We service all districts. We service the entire city. Thank you, Director.
Thank you, Ms. Coffey. Okay, Elise, I said it. They love you. Martin Chavez said, we love you, Elise. You are the queen of trash. So thank you for that information. And now I just hate to have this session talked about because it's something that we don't like to see hit Houston, and that is when we have to respond to disasters. So relative to a debris response, I would like to introduce you again to Mr. Anthony Bowie, who's the Deputy Director of Operations, and he is in solid waste known as the Deputy Debris Manager in the department. So, Mr. Bowie.
Okay, thank you again, Director. And certainly, like you said, that is something that we really don't want to talk about, speak about, but certainly it does happen. So how do we define the crisis? The crisis is defined as significant events or issues creating public scrutiny, which disrupts normal business activities and stimulates external news coverage. A crisis is not a matter of if it will happen, but when it will happen. So certainly, as we know it, once the crisis has been identified, our first thing we do is activate our debris management site, which is located in the northwest quadrant of the city. And it says the City of Houston's emergency management plan provides 4 phases of emergency management. Each phase mandates certain actions, duties, and responsibilities by all city departments. The Solid Waste Management Department parallels its emergency actions consistent with these phases. Once we activate our debris management sites, then we also activate our debris contracts for the cleanup and monitoring of the city. We have 6 debris collectors, 3 debris monitors, and one household hazardous waste collector. So normal operations, routine services, and are suspended, and the city is in what we call hunker down mode. Hunker down helps minimize our injuries and casualties. So once we get to that point, we're in the recovery phase, is what the department does. The crisis has passed, and all necessary actions are now implemented to restore normalcy to the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowie. Are there any questions with respect to debris management, or how we respond? Okay, well, thank you. We have a couple of questions in the chat. I'm going to recognize the question. Sheena is from Council Member. Are you from Council Member Knox's office? I think Sheena's from. And so it asks the question is, how does a resident report property damage to 311? And once reported to the resident, is the resident informed on how to formally report their claim? Is that about how to formally report their claim? Okay, so with respect to the property damage claim, our preference is that you go to 311, file that claim. The department will also, we will conduct an internal investigation on that particular claim. Now, I want you all to know one thing about solid waste. We're not the only heavy truck that is up and down these city streets. And if there's no truck number associated with the damage that has been reported, solid waste does not take ownership of that. So we ask the residents if they can to please provide all detailed information, including a truck number, for us to investigate, because you have a lot of trucks that can cause damage and we don't want to take ownership of it. And we certainly don't want to have the city pay for something that we didn't do. So that's how the process works. You really need to file the claim either to 311 or the city secretary's office has the claim forms there for you to file that claim. And then, of course, solid waste does the investigation, report our findings, and then legal gets involved and determines if this claim is justifiable or not. And so they will either accept the claim or deny the claim. And that's sort of the process. With respect to Stephen James, the hot team needs to dump regularly and need access to the depositories. So are we able to get access when needed or wait in line? I was under the impression that all hot teams utilize the depository sites. Unless I'm mistaken, I know that many of them dispose of their items there. Where are you all filing, I guess, taking your trash that you pick up, Mr. James?
Thank you, Director. The question is more in line with the teams when they pick up. Sometimes they're told, come on, cut in. Most times, wait in line. And, I regret it that the residents have to wait in line many times, and that could take quite a while. But for our teams, the ability to come into a different direction, however, dump and then get right back out there. That's what the question is. Are we going to be able to do that on a regular basis?
We do work with the hot teams, and Mr. Renfro, if you would reach out to him and Mr. Bennett, they'll coordinate and let you know the process. We've not had any issues with the hot teams having access to depository sites since we started. And so if there are delays with them getting in and out, please coordinate with Mr. Bennett, Mr. Renfro, and Ms. Mason, and they'll work something out for you so that they can have access in and out of the facilities. Because again, the hot teams are a help to solid waste, and we don't want them to be delayed in getting in and out and going back to, again, getting Houston clean. So coordinate with Mr. Renfro, Mr. Bennett, and Ms. Mason, and we'll work that out for you. And
Thank
then
you,
I want to go back to the question about the filing the claim. Mr. Monroe said file a claim information is in the knowledge. So can you just, Mr. Monroe, state what you're saying? I'm sorry, I'm not clear on what your message is.
For the council members, when you log into the CRIS system, there's a entity there that says knowledge search, and all you have to do is type file a claim, and it'll pull up the information on how citizens can file claims with the city. that are not solid waste responsibility. Anything that's solid waste responsibility, we do create a service request for that. However, just like the director said, if there is not any truck information, we advise the citizens that they need to file a claim through the normal process, because without a truck number or truck information, it's really unfair just to lay it on solid waste that they actually were the ones that created the damage without any proof. So any information you need to give a citizen, resident, constituent concerning filing a claim, you can find that in the CRIS system under knowledge search, knowledge articles.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Monroe. And then Sheena, with your questions, yes, solid waste trucks, the numbers are on the trucks. They are visible. They're on the side, on the back as well. And so those numbers are visible. If there's a particular area that you're speaking of, please email the department at Houston, swdworks@houstontx.gov. Please reach out to that staff person and they will try to get additional information for you. Again, we ask you to please call 311 with your concerns in your community, specific to solid waste. If there's some in particular that you need to have addressed immediately, we ask that you please call our community, email our community outreach area or internal liaison, which is at Houston, swdworks@houstontx.gov. All the information today is on our website at houstontx.gov/solid waste. That information is there. And we're here to help. We're here to serve, and we want to be responsive to you. So a couple of things I want you to know, that Mr. Renfro is now the interim serving in the role of at the Southwest Service Center. His previous role at the neighborhood depository sites is broad and expansive. He is very knowledgeable there. He's able to assist and answer any questions you may have. He has put his number in the chat. And he's going to help Mr. Bennett through that process and working with Ms. Mason as well. So we want to be responsive about your concerns. And Mr. Valinsky, we're going to, in a few minutes, get to that new app, and just give us a few minutes. We want to get through the department programs and make sure all of these questions are answered. And then Mr. Thomas, not sure if this is considered a solid waste question. What's the next step in the protocol when a junk motor vehicle citation has been issued to a resident per 311? Absolutely not a solid waste question, but Mr. Monroe is here. Happy to have him, and maybe he can answer your question for you. Mr. Monroe, the question is, what's the next step in the protocol when a junk motor vehicle citation has been issued to a resident per 311? Remember, Department of Neighborhood is going to be your best resource to reach out to them. But since Mr. Monroe is here, we'll allow him to answer the question.
Well, what happens is once the Department of Neighborhood issues the initial citation, that particular address is placed on a time frame, and that inspector has a certain time frame that they have to go out and see if the vehicle has been actually moved. If it has not actually been moved, then they will issue another fine with a greater amount attached to it. And that happens, I believe it's 3 times before it's placed on a list for removal. Now, all that is part of the Department of Neighborhood's protocol. All we can do at 311 is report the incident. So if a citation has been issued to a particular junk motor vehicle and it's still in the street, you can definitely give us a call, and we can definitely place in another report alerting the inspector for dawn that the vehicle is still out and creating a violation. But the only thing we can do is alert the department that the issue has not yet been resolved.
Thank you so very much for that. It seems like you guys may need a lunch and learn yourself, because most of my questions seem to come to your department.
Well, we're here to help in any way we can, and feel free to reach out to me. I will place my email in the chat.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Monroe. And then there are a couple of questions that we want to find out. First of all, We are the model department on Lunch and Learn series. And so we would hope that, again, other departments would follow suit and offer this information to the public. That was your question. Is Department of Neighborhood going to hold a Lunch and Learn series? Perhaps they will. I can only speak for solid waste, which is one of the best departments in the city of Houston. And that's who I'm here representing on today. So the other question from Nashon Edwards, what council office are you from, Mr. Edwards?
He's from F, and our council member would really like this information. This is Cheryl.
Oh, okay. And so the question is, how many routes are currently in each district? We can get that information to you. And secondly, what is the number of solid waste personnel dispatched to service those routes? That information we'll provide to you. It is public, and we'll get those questions over to you all before the end of the week. And then the next is, do you have a new plan for illegal dumping? There's a huge problem in District D. There is a plan that has been presented. The mayor has been talking about it, and we're working through the process. I'm not sure when it will be implemented. But again, we just encourage our residents, when you see something that someone is doing wrong, report the wrongdoing. Just make sure that, whatever information you can provide, report it to 311. We work with the constable's office as well. That it would be Lieutenant Scales, I think, in that area. But we work with the constable's office as well. And then, of course, just call them rat on a rat and 211 and report those illegal dumpers. But it's a citywide problem, Mr. James. It's not just in District D. I assure you, those in District B and District F and District J, and I would say the exact same thing about their districts. It is a citywide problem that we want to tackle. And again, it's a work in progress. Mr. Provost, a director of our department, when you say a directory, sir, are you meaning everyone on this forum? That's what you're talking about? Or exactly what? I want you to kind of expound on what you want. Let us know exactly what you want, and we get that information to you. Mr. Chavez, you're absolutely right. Illegal dumping collection takes too long because solid waste priority is on servicing residents of Houston. That's our first priority. We want to pick up that trash in front of your households. We don't want our residents to have to wait. And then again, we collect illegal dumping as time permits. Again, and we started this session, we talked about the fact that the department needs to be right sized. We're not fully funded. Our budgets are low. Our budget is less now than it was many years ago. There's a staffing shortage. We are hiring drivers. We're offering a $3,000 sign-in incentive. And so we want you to encourage those. If you know anyone that has a CDL license, please tell them to apply for these driving positions. The City of Houston offers great benefits. In addition to that $3,000 sign-in incentive, I assure you, we want the best and brightest and most qualified CDL drivers to be a part of this. I call it an award-winning team in the City of Houston. So with that being said, this is the end of our core services program. Do you know how many drivers you still need at this point? Right now, today, we have about 30 vacancies. And so we lose drivers on a routine basis to our partnering department, the Houston Public Works Department, along with the other private sectors. It's a competitive market. And I assure you, we're doing the best we can to retain the drivers that we have. But we at right now, we've been doing this an hour and we have 30 more minutes. But this is the end of our core operational program presentation. Now I'm excited to tell you about a new app that we're going to be rolling out very soon. You are the first to hear about it. And so we want to make sure you know this program and to keep it a secret until we roll it out to the public. You're going to be part of our test phase. And we need you to give us feedback on this new application that we're going to be rolling out. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it back over to our division manager, Ms. Sarah Mason. Sherelle, I see your answers. How many drivers should we have to be operational? We'll get that information to you. But again, thank you all for tuning in, accepting this invitation. And now I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Sarah Mason. Thank you, Sarah. Sarah, you're muted.
Gosh, sorry about that. Thank you, Director Wright. And yes, we have covered a lot of great information this morning about all of the various services, both curbside collections and drop-off operations offered by the Solid Waste Department. And it's a lot to take in. And all that information is on our website and in other places. But in order to make it easier for residents to find information about their service day, about where to take a certain item for disposal or how to handle it, and to learn more about how to recycle right, we are going to be launching a new suite of tools, as the director mentioned. This is a sneak preview. We are still in a testing phase and we want your feedback. It's both a web-based set of tools and a mobile application. Both have the same, I guess, options. There's a calendar for your service days, a waste feature to search where to take something, a waste sorting game, and then also we will be pushing out, operational updates as well when there may be delays to help put that information right in people's pocket or their email, or they can get a robocall. So we've been working really hard on this. We've had a great internal team. I've been working very closely with my colleague Elise Coffey in the community outreach section and her group, as well as our public information team. And so I'm going to turn it over to Elise now, and they're going to walk through a presentation and tell you exactly how you can get access to this and find out more about it.
Thank you, Sarah. Yes, we are very excited about our app. And Desmond Allen of my staff is going to walk you through it. So if you want to pull out your cell phones, you can follow his instructions and download the app and find out how to use it. Desmond?
Perfect. So we're going to provide a sneak peek into our new app, which is entitled HTX Collects. First, we'll ask all of you to download this app. If you're on an Android device, please visit your Play Store. If you're on an iPhone device, please visit your Apple Store. You'll search for the words Houston Trash and Recycling. We should be the first app that comes. Please select the icon and install. I'll pause for a brief second to give everyone a moment to download the app. Once you get the app downloaded, you'll see these different features. We have our collection calendar, our waste wizard, our waste sorting game, and of course, this app is mobile, so you don't have to be at a desktop to be able to use the features. Our app can be translated into different languages as well: French, Korean, simplified Chinese, Spanish, as well as Vietnamese. So first, we'll cover the features of our collection calendar. This will give you your service dates and information on your yard waste, garbage, recycling, junk, and tree waste collections. You can also use your collection calendar to set reminders as far as emails, push notifications, as well as even a robocall. Once you install the app, you'll be prompted to input an address. Once you input that address, it'll give you specific dates for different collection options. Here we see yard waste, trash, recycling, and on a different date, your junk waste. If you click these down arrows, it'll give you definitions into each service. As you scroll down, you'll see a searchable feature. You can use this to search items that you may have specific questions about. You can also receive alerts and updates. Some of you have been receiving updates such as this in the past. We can send updates directly to the app. You will get an attention notification, and then you will get the updated reminder in the top of that app. How to receive collection alerts. So on that home page, in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see the More tab. If you click that, you'll see an option for the notifications. Once you click that notification tab, please turn notifications to yes. You can also set a time and a date to be alerted for your specific services. If you want to receive different notifications outside the app, such as a robocall or an email, please select the More Reminder options. Once you select that option, you'll be redirected to our solid waste homepage. Please scroll down to our Waste Wizard tool and select Get a Reminder. Once you select Get a Reminder, you'll see these different options: email, phone call, add to your Google Calendar, as well as a printable option. So now let's talk about that Waste Wizard tool. So that Waste Wizard tool will give you the ability to search specific items, as well as look up popular items that we receive frequent questions about. Specific to your address, you'll see an interactive map that will show you your closest neighborhood depository, as well as your environmental service center, depending upon what equipment you have searched. We also have interactive tools to where you can click these options and receive step-by-step directions to actually make it to that environmental service center or depository location. It'll also give you the best option available. So in this instance, the pool heater can actually be placed curbside for heavy trash. So now let's talk about our exciting waste sorting game. So this is a fun, interactive education tool that will engage all demographics of the community. Once you click this option, you'll be prompted to turn your phone sideways. Once your phone is turned sideways, you will see the game appear. Chase the waste. It'll give you different items as well as different disposal options. Please select the correct disposal option to become a recycling ranger. Thank you. Please download, test, and set reminders, as well as become a recycling ranger. Please send any feedback that you have to htxcollects@houstontx.gov. But before we move on, I want to show you guys our Chase the Waste feature, as well as our recycling calendar on our website. So if you guys visit houstontx.gov/solid waste, you will see our calendar feature. I've already input an address, but it will ask you for a specific address. Once you have input that address, it'll give you the same information that you see on the app. You can click on the down arrow, as we see with our yard waste option, to receive more information about the specific services. It'll also give you the option to print the calendar or to see a 30-day calendar of what service we provided on which day. We also see here we have our Get Out Reminder feature, as well as our Get a Calendar feature. We also have a searchable option for what bin does it go in. So if you have any questions about items such as aluminum foil, styrofoam egg carton, this is a perfect place to find those answers. You can also play our game on the website as well. So please have fun using our website features as well as our mobile app. Once we launch, please encourage residents to download our app as well to receive up-to-date solid waste information as well as push notifications. So I'll turn it back over to the director. Thank you.
Okay, I guess we'll wait for the director to get her audio squared away. We saw a lot of enthusiasm for the app. Thank you for that great feedback. I saw one question about if the app does geolocating. It doesn't do geolocating. However, it does, if you start to type in the street number and street name, it will auto-populate. There will be a drop down that will give you, it should pull up fairly quickly the address that you're looking for. So it does suggest options for you in that way so that you can find the address that you're looking for pretty quickly.
Sarah, get that next question if you see it in the app.
Okay.
I'm sorry, in the chat about if the department is behind on for example, tree waste, will residents get push notifications for operations updates?
Oh, great. Thank you. Yes, that's something that we're really excited about. And we've been testing this internally. We've all had it downloaded. And so we've been doing those operations updates. You may have been seeing them on our Facebook page. So the same updates that we're putting on our Facebook page, we're able to push out through the app, and it shows up right on your phone, and it says, operations update, July 22nd, 2021, and then it gives you the update. And so you'll have that information as well. And it looks like the director's back, so I will see if her audio is working.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
I thought I had the perfect system, but I guess not. I'm now of the norm. Okay, well, again, I am super excited about our app. So thank you, Sarah and Elise, and of course, Desmond for the presentation. We're just excited to roll it out. So again, you're part of what we call the sneak peek team. We ask you not to actually share with anyone right now. Help us test it. Give us some feedback on how we can improve this before we roll it out to the public. While we know it's not going to be a perfect system, as you just saw with the 311 app, and they worked on 311 for several months, just as Solid Waste has been doing. And it's not perfect. We know there's going to be some glitches with it as we move forward. We've been doing Teams meetings now for a year. And as we go into these meetings, we still have issues here. So we want your feedback. Tell us what we need to do that might make it a little more user-friendly. Again, any feedback you can give us, please email it, because this particular app has its own email. And you can still find the link at houstonsolidwaste.gov/ HoustonTX.gov/solid waste. There's so many apps. HoustonTX.gov/solid waste. You can still find the link for this. But any application feedback, it's in the chat, htxcollects@houstontx.gov. We want to get your feedback. We want your input on how we can improve this particular product and application as we roll it out to the public. Right now, we're talking about maybe the first week or the second week in August. We don't have a concrete date. I saw that question that came from, I'm not sure who it was. Oh, Stephen. Does the app have a web link for does the app have a PC web link for use on the web? That's a question for one of the project managers. Does the app have a PC web link for use on the web?
Yes. So Carolyn, I put that information. Sorry, can y'all hear me? So I dropped that in the chat with that. All the same features are also available as web tools, and they'll be live after this meeting concludes. So we were going to announce everything here, and then that will be available there.
Okay. All right. So again, use the app, give us some feedback, and we are working to make solid waste just, again, one of the better departments. Are you able to upload pictures from your mobile app if needed? From your mobile phone if needed? On that particular app, Ms. Sheena is asking that question. I don't think so.
No, there's not a way to upload pictures. You can like report an issue if you're having an issue, with the app's functionality itself, or a service issue, and those go to different places. And so if it's like a missed collection, you could send that, and that will come to the department. But if it's an issue with the app itself, that will go to that will come to the department, but also to the company that maintains it. If something that's not working with the app. But there's not really a way to upload pictures.
Ms. Coffee has her hand up. Thank you, Sarah. I'd like to acknowledge Ms. Coffee. Her hand is up.
I just want to share that one of the things that I find most exciting about our app is that we will be able to target messaging, not just citywide, to say like the current message has to do with citywide, we're collecting our 4th week of tree waste. Well, let's say we just have something going on in District K. We've had some trucks break down, or we've had a weather issue. We will be able to geographically target those areas and send a particular push message that only relates to their area. So I think you guys will find that very helpful. Also, I want to share that if you put in the address of a resident, it will give you the service information for that resident. So for instance, if you don't live in the city, or you live in a different part of the city, but your district is I, if you type in that address for I, you will get whatever push notifications we had sent to that particular address. So I think that's really another cool feature.
Okay, great. That's great information, Elise. Thanks for sharing that. And again, Mr. Monroe, no. And to you all, please don't share it to anyone right now. It is still in the test phase. You are our testers. Give us feedback. Give us some information. We want to, again, make sure this is right before we make it public. So no, sir, not at the moment. Do not share with your agents. And again, do not share with the public. Only you who are invited to this meeting that we're sharing this application with. And so with that being said, we have a few more minutes. If there are any additional questions that you have for us, again, let me just thank a huge thanks to the solid waste team for being a part of this, what we call an interactive session on today. It has been a huge learning curve, we believe, for you all. So you know what we do, how we do it, and then get to know the people who make a difference in the city that we live in. I want to acknowledge, Sarah, your hand was up? Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you. I also did just want to mention, and I think Desmond did mention this, but as Elise was talking about being able to do those custom updates, also the app is available in different languages, as are the web tools. So when you're in that tool, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a drop-down menu, so you can choose from. There's 5 additional languages, as well as English. That the information, that the standard information in there about your service days and how the services work has been translated.
Thank you, Sarah. And then I see someone in there, and truly I want to also acknowledge, as many of you know, is Gigi. She's not on this forum because she's at her desk answering those multiple emails that she received and those phone calls. But we want to acknowledge the work that she does behind the scenes. With that being said, I want to introduce you to the department's chief of staff. She's the newest member of this team, why she's not new to the city either. So I want to introduce you to Veronica Lozama.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here. This is great conversation. Lots of learning information for all of us, including myself. But I do want to introduce and just really thank our communications team, Tyra Wilkins, who's our PIO, and Abel Fernandez, that is our creative designer, and really put all this together. So I want to give a huge thank you to them.
And with that being said, I want to truly thank the communications team behind the scenes making this happen. This went so smoothly today. When I tell you, it was perfect. And so while we had a few glitches here and there, we could not have done it without them. And so kudos to you all. I want to thank you again for making this happen. We had a vision and we made it become a reality. And so again, it's because of their work. I want to acknowledge, of course, as we stated, Gigi, and I'm going to share with her, everybody's saying, we love you, Gigi. And I want to also tell you that Miss Botts, Linnell Botts, she works closely with the communications team and Miss Gigi, providing support to them. So Linnell, if you're here, turn your camera on so people can see who you are. Put your name with the face, because she also responds from the director's office. She provides support to us as well. So I want to thank Miss Botts for helping us out, also providing that service. Again, Team Solid Waste is responsive and available to you, our partners. We cannot do this without you all. And the only way we wanted to let you know what our services are was to bring it to you. Deputy Director Bowie had to drop off, but he wanted to thank the Solid Waste team as well for a job well done. Thank you, our audience, for participating. And we're going to log off now unless there's some more questions that you may have. Any additional questions? Shout out to Gigi and Tyra. Shout out to Tyra. Thank you for hosting Lunch and Learn. Very successful, informative. Thank you from Leslie. Thank you for the app. Thank you all. Great Lunch and Learn. Absolutely. Time to eat. We are starving. Next time we're going to have some real lunch and not out. Wait, Mr. Glass has food? So no, we're all starving. But who is the city council liaison for SWD? That is Miss Gigi, as I stated. She's the person who handles all of it. And you can email her at swdworks@houstontx.gov. That's what she does. She's very responsive. And again, she works with the communications team and also with the director's office. So thank you for being a part of this. We have work to do. Oh, sorry, Garrett, you missed it. We have about 8 more minutes and we'll hang around until 1 o'clock because that's what we said. And in case someone comes on at 12:58 and they might have a question for us, we're going to be here until 1 o'clock. So
one last question, Ms. Carolyn. So how will we reach out to you to get this video, or what would be the best way to get the video from today's presentation?
So Abel Fernandez is going to tell you how the video will be made available, or either Tyra Wilkins or Veronica Lozama. They'll let you know. One of you, I work for them. They tell me what to do, so I don't really know. So whatever they say, and they didn't give me that in my script, so I don't want to give you the wrong answer. So one of the communication team leaders would tell us, or our chief of staff.
Actually, if you could just email us as SWD Works, we'll have that link ready for you.
All right, swdworks@houstontx.gov, and we'll make the link available to you.
Thank you.
And I see Diana. Diana, what council office are you representing? I'd like to acknowledge you. I see your hand is up.
Hi, Director Wright. I'm with Councilmember Robinson's office.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So the question I have is regarding the individuals who put more than the number of cubic feet that they're supposed to during junk waste month. And I understand, and it makes perfect sense if solid waste does not pick that up. What is the process if that trash continues to be there in place in a neighborhood?
Well, the Department of Neighborhood should come out and issue a citation once we've tagged it. We tagged so I'm going to ask everyone who's not speaking to mute because I hear echo. And so what happens is once that pile of debris is tagged, our employees understand what they should tag. And once they tag it, Department of Neighborhood should come out and issue a citation, a warning first, and then a citation, because at that moment, the resident, they're responsible for removing that debris from the curb. Now, we don't go through a pile and reduce it for you to 8 cubic yards. We will not do that. We won't touch it. If it's out of the scope of the 8 cubic yard, we're going to tag it. We're going to report it and we're going to move forward. And then it's the homeowner's responsibility.
Okay, so and sorry to get on a personal anecdote. I'm actually speaking about my own neighborhood. We have 4 neighbors who the last 3 months have placed out everything from construction debris to mattresses. And with the rains recently, as you all know, there are mosquitoes all around the area. I haven't seen a tag, so I don't know if I should go ahead and report it. Because I haven't seen any tags and they've just continued to leave it there. And it's clear that it's not going to be picked up because it's over the amount of cubic feet that should be. But I think they're under the assumption that at some point solid waste will pick it up, which is obviously not the case. And
you're welcome to email that address, the swdworks@houstontx.gov, and we will take a look at the file, but it should have been tagged. So if you all again were mute if you're not speaking because it's an echo. And so, Diane, if you do that, and then report them to 311, because as a homeowner, you know that the power that's out is not the right thing, and so we want to employ you all to do the right thing. Report that construction material. If they're not doing any repairs at their home, then clearly you know that material is probably being brought in from somewhere else, or construction job or something. We receive complaints all the time where residents who own construction companies have a tendency to bring those items home. And I have to kudos to one of the council members who has taken pictures and put them out there and saying that solid waste is not going to collect this debris. But we don't know everything that's taking place and what person does for a living, but we can determine that if there are no repairs being done at that particular home, the debris is probably being brought in from somewhere else. So report to 311. Is Mr. Monroe still on here? I'm sure he'd be happy to take that complaint and give you a number to what is it? A service request number? Mr. Monroe, you still on here? Perhaps he's dropped off. But again, report them to 311 and also reach out to Department of Neighborhoods. I think it's really helpful to reach out to them.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And so we have about 3 more minutes remaining. And so Christian Crawley, hello, Christian. What council member's office are you representing today?
Councilmember Carlos Cisneros. How are you doing today?
Yes, I'm great. How are you?
Doing pretty well. So I just have a quick question about the neighborhood depository site. What if there's a situation where someone is moving from one home to another and they do have their photo ID? However, the new address that they're going to is going to be different than what's on their photo ID. Is there a situation, or how would that be handled as far as like the utility bill being provided?
Ms. Mason, she can respond to that. She has a hand up. We will acknowledge her. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's a good question. So we define a current utility bill as any utility bill from the current month or the previous 2 months, so 3 months. So they could bring a utility bill that matches the address on their license if they don't have everything updated at the time that they're coming to drop off their material.
Okay, so either that current month or the previous 3 months.
Previous 2, so a total
previous
of
2.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Total of 3, and as long as it matches their license.
That's right.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And so a list of our documents that are acceptable forms of identification can be found on our website at houstontx.gov/solid waste. You'll find that information there as well, and what the requirements are and what's acceptable.
All righty.
Thank you all for the compliment for the department, and of course, me having the ability to represent the department. Again, I'm honored to do that. So thank you all as well. Again, about the scheduling cleanups, reach out to Miss Elise Coffey and her team at elise.coffey, Coffey, not EE, Coffey at houstontx.gov for community cleanups, or if you want her to come out, and of course, she does speaking engagements as well. She and her team are quite awesome. So you please reach out to Ms. Coffey for any speaking engagements. And of course, you can do that through 311 as well. So we have 1 more minute left before 1 o'clock. And I again want to thank Solid Waste team. Great job. And for those of you who accepted the invitation, we are really, really grateful to you. So spread the word about the great services that Solid Waste provides. Don't share the app just yet until we're ready to make it public. And any questions that you may have specific to solid waste, please send them to swdworks@houstontx.gov. Visit our website, like us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook. We always have information out there. So again, we're going to go. Okay, one more question, Ms. Mahorn, before we log off. Ms. Jackie Mahorn? Yes, ma'am. I can't hear you, but you can put your question in the chat. We will acknowledge it. She has one question remaining, so I will ask Solid Waste to stay on. Notice on the post, we have information here. Houston, the information, HoustonSolidWaste.org. And then, of course, for service requests, swdworks@houstontx.gov, we ask you to please, we need 3 weeks advance notice for all community cleanups. That's from Ms. Coffey. 3 weeks in advance for any community cleanups. They need to have that 3 weeks in advance. I'm going to remain on so Ms. Mahorn can get a question answered. We cannot hear you, but we certainly acknowledge that you can put your question in the chat. Again, I would like to know why all the identification just to dump at depositories can be amended to make it easier. No, ma'am. The part of the reason is the depository sites are for residents who live in Houston. As we stated, you have a lot of contractors who want to take advantage of that. And if we allow contractors in without at least trying to vet through the identifying process, we will get an array of trash and your residents won't be able to utilize the site. And it has been that way since we've implemented the neighborhood depositories, and it has been successful. You have a few who won't abide by the rules. And that's why if you visit our website, it would tell you what are the forms of identification that you can take with you. And so we've made it really easy for residents to do that. So if there's someone in particular that's having an issue, if you have an ID limit of 4 times a month, that is okay. Yes, ma'am, you have an opportunity to dump 4 times a month. This is a free service to the citizens. Remember, City of Houston they don't pay a fee for any of these services. And so because of that, we just want to ask the citizens to be, mindful of the services that we provide at no cost to them. The most efficient service that you receive is from the Solid Waste Management Department. I have to say it because I've been here forever, and I'm going to toot our horn. But yes, please visit our website to get the additional forms of identification that are available. We're at the 1 o'clock mark, and we're going to go on and close this session out. Again, follow us on Facebook, like us on Twitter, take note of our constant updates, and give us information on that particular application that we rolled out to you only today, the sneak peek, and we'll be back and give you some additional information. Everybody enjoy this Thursday. Thanks again for being a part of this wonderful Solid Waste Boot Camp Open House Lunch and Learn series. Have a great day. Bye-bye.